Okay, so I've got just a little bit of a what sold video for you this week. This is from a week back in May. And if you guys remember, we were out of town. I think I did like a little haul video of some of the stuff we found on that trip. But during that trip, most of my shops were shut down. eBay was on time away, but we were allowing people to purchase. So I have a few sales I can share with you from that week. As we get towards the end of the week, I turned off time away, and because I knew I'd be home by Sunday night and we could ship out everything on Monday. So we were just back in business by Friday. But the other shops, even though I had opened up the Etsy shops in Ruby Lane and stuff, Poshmark, it took a little while for them to kind of kick back into action. And so I don't have any sales from, I think I have one Etsy sale to share with you and one Ruby Lane sale. But I am also happy to report that more recently, sales have picked up. So, you know, I was talking last week about how slow everything was and how it was mostly my fault for not listing. So I have been listing consistently. I ran a sale. I've been playing around with promotional rates and things like that. And so our sales have definitely increased this weekend. So hopefully the momentum can keep going. I think I told you last week about my son hurting his arm, breaking some stuff, fractures. And thank you guys for all the well wishes for him. It did turn out that we found out later that he does need surgery, has to have some pins and a plate put in. And so he's getting that taken care of today. So I'm trying to distract myself by staying busy, and we're just going to talk about a few things that sold. But always good to have some a little extra income coming in when you have some of these unexpected expenses that show up. So he's doing great. He's got a really good attitude about the whole thing. But yes, he's definitely out of commission for the rest of the summer, if not into the fall. So anyway, let's go over to the computer. Let's just talk about, it's mostly eBay sales, like I said, and we'll see you over there. Okay, so we're going to start with this pair of cool shorts, KUHL. These are women's shorts, just a size 4. Nothing really outstanding about them, but they sold for $25.99. It's always nice to kind of be on a road trip and driving to your destination and have some sales roll in. I'll never complain about that. Here was a pair of SAS shoes. We used to sell a lot more of these. They were just kind of an under the radar, like good solid bread and butter shoe sale. The last few that we have gotten actually took a little while to sell. And so I haven't really done a whole lot of research lately as to what styles are doing well or what it was that happened in this. These I know probably were a little bit slower because I think Mr. Pishposh, he wasn't quite sure of the size of them, but he would just use like the online size chart and the measurements and try to kind of do his best guess. They ended up selling for $20.50 and they didn't get returned or anything like that. So hopefully that worked out for them. Then this is so funny. This is just an Urban Outfitters blouse. I don't even remember where we picked it up. And I know the only reason we picked it up is because it was new with tags. But it took a little while to sell. And I remember looking in the closet, we were kind of culling some things out. And I remember looking at it going, oh, I should just donate that. But for whatever reason, I said, no, I'll just refresh the listing or do something like that. And it sold while we were on our trip for $19.99. So it's actually not that bad. Okay, so gold collection cross-stitch kits are definitely something you want to be on the lookout for. I did take a $40 offer on this one. Most of the time with my pricing, I start a little higher so that I can go down either sending offers or receiving offers or counter offers or things like that. But gold collection, some can sell in the hundreds, depends on subject matter and things like that. I was thrifting with my son one day and we went into a thrift store that has a pretty good size craft section. And I was like, oh my goodness, there's a couple Dimensions Gold Collection kits in here. So I was excited about that. And they were about $5 a piece, I would say. So like I said, that sold for $40. Then probably same day, I was shopping with my son and we were at Goodwill and we were looking in kids' clothes, even though he's getting to the age where he's getting too big for the kids' clothes section. But there's still a few things we, always take a look while we're there. And I just happened to see these Polo Ralph Lauren swim trunks. And I knew it wouldn't be big money. It was a day that the kids' clothes were half off. And so I was like, all right, let's, let me just see if there's something I can flip really quick. These were so easy to list. I knew the colors would be good. They sold within like a week or so for $14. And I think I paid like $2. Okay, so sold some salad forks. Took a $30 offer on these. These, I believe these came from the bins. I have this weird way of like remembering where I found certain pieces of flatware, but I do remember coming across these at our little clearance store at the thrift store. So, they have raised their price recently, but this was before that. So I really only paid probably pennies for this. Next up was this fun vintage coffee mug. There's a brand, House, Houze. It wasn't marked that, but they made a lot of these mugs in the 70s that were personalized with the names. But this one was just kind of funny because it just said me on it. And so I thought that was funny. Sold it for $24.99. I thought it was interesting, the feedback I got. Woman was super happy. She was buying it, I think, for her mother. And she just kind of complained about the price a little bit. But then went on to say, like, how hard it was to find. And, she was super happy to be able to find this replacement mug from the 70s for her mother. And so, to me, that kind of just answers your own question as to why you're going to pay $25 and not, $5. So anyway, that could just be me and I was being cranky that day. But otherwise, it was a very lovely feedback. Then we sold this belt for $24.99. It's just a Patagonia, but kind of can get overlooked because it's just this nylon webbing. But the name Patagonia was there on the buckle. And then, of course, it had the iconic Patagonia mountainscape logo there. Okay, sold some soap. Now this came from probably that, I think it did. It came from that, our little honey hole for a while last year. The estate that was being cleaned out and sold at the tax office. Anyway, we ended up selling these for $40.99. They're just ginger perfume soaps. I looked them up when I was there, I'm sure. And so these took several months to sell, but that was a good price for that. I think I paid like $2 for them. The next item I think is just a Mr. Pish Posh item. I don't know where he got it, but it's a hard storage for CDs. It's called a click case, and that sold for $24.99. Then we had some flatware that sold. Temptations is the brand. So if you guys know the Temptations dinnerware, they do a lot of times have flatware or utensils that go with their dishware and their cookware. So this was called Pawfetti, as you can see the little paw prints on it. I thought they would go a lot faster, but sometimes with flatware, you just have to be patient. $35.99. Then another cross stitch kit we found that same day. This is a Jan Lynn, and it's not a gold collection, it's a platinum collection. But these aren't worth as much. Maybe there's different themes or different patterns that would be worth more. But this one sold for $29.99. I was fine and happy with that. And then the last sale on eBay for that week while we were out of town is just one of my like favorite things to sell. Just stuff like this that's just kind of sitting there and other people may not see the value in. It was at Goodwill. I paid, I don't even know, $1, $2, something like that. But it's new. Vidal Sassoon, I think it had, I don't think it was extremely old, but just maybe not available anymore. But yeah, I saw a comp at Goodwill for $25, and that's what I listed mine at, and that's what it sold for. Then the one Etsy sale, like I said, it took a few days to get the Etsy shop kind of back running again. I'm sure a lot had to do with I had to come home and like get some new listings into it. Anyway, this Koos Van Den Ecker Vogue pattern sold for $19. And then over on Ruby Lane, one of the Clyban mugs sold for $17. So the B Clyban cat on roller skates sold for $17, which isn't too bad for a coffee mug. Okay, so that was it for that week. This might actually be a fairly short what sold video for you guys. Like I said, I'm a little distracted today, but I wanted to get something out here and kind of keep up with things, but I hope everything is going well with you guys. I hope your sales have picked up. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything you have found or sold recently that you're super excited about. I'm always happy to read your comments. So I will have a video for you later on this week, and I will talk to you later.